Hello and welcome back to another episode of Vintage Survival here on Heavy Metal Gaming. So this episode is actually a voiceover. I had a goofy microphone issue start at the tail end of the previous episode, carry all the way through this episode, and two more that are recorded after this that I'm just going to re-record. Why am I going to re-record? Because they're on a new map and I had a save game backup. Which is a way of saying that this is the last episode on this map. We are saying goodbye to Garbindel. A little bit later in this episode, I get frustrated because we have too many issues. And so, actually I start to get frustrated right here because there's no way to unload these bales. You have to put them in that little hut. You can't set them outside. Which, okay, yes, that's more realistic, but this isn't a realism series, so yeah, just sort of a frustrating thing. And obviously I figured it out pretty quick what the issue was. Tried putting it on the ground first in case the trailer was too high. Realized that the symbol was in there, and realized I needed to put it actually in there. There we go. And plop. So that started working, and we move on from there. Alright, so after patiently waiting for the first bale to go, we're going to stick the second one in there. It won't all fit, but that's okay. At this point, I hadn't decided to leave this map yet, so it was okay. And I do want to thank Mr. Sealy P, because it was his map review of the map that we moved to that had my eye on it already for my next Vintage Survival series. Since that series is a semi-continuation of this one, it won't be fully start from scratch. I don't remember why I grabbed the tanker right here. Ah, yes, I was experimenting with putting the automatic watering system in for greenhouses and animals. So with the automatic watering system in, I don't need the tanker anymore. We can't do milk. So we brought it down to sell it. Off it goes. And got a good chunk of our money back. At this point, we're getting our contracts done. Or at least attempting to. So this was our wheat harvest to put this wheat into the whiskey production, which we do. And we do advance time for a couple of months until that production is fully run through so that we can get all of our product. I was looking at that to make sure that it was a decorative object and not seeds that belonged to us that we left behind. Looked here at our equipment. Um, as you may remember from previous episode, we had an issue getting the silage clamp to open up all the way. I think the issue was me. I think I needed to use the bucket while there was still some silage left, not wait until there was nothing left outside of the sheet. Did look at sale items, of course, because, why not? Again, at this point, I hadn't yet decided to leave this map. So we're selling our silage bales, and this is one of the places where the frustration really starts. People seem to think that the tip trigger doesn't need to also be lifted up in the air and be a cube. But if it's not a cube, doing bales off of a trailer does not work, or pallets, or anything else. You need to make your tip triggers on your maps or placeables have 3 dimensions, not just be a flat plane. A flat plane only works for trailers that tip. So for any product off of a flatbed, it doesn't work, and you end up resorting to what I do here, and that is pulling them off the trailer so that they're touching the flat plane on the ground. And then, oh, lo and behold, it works. So it's not that the trailer's too high. That's a really low trailer. It's that, quite simply, the trigger is done wrong. And I've had this issue with things going back to FS19. And if you load the mod up in Giant's Editor, or if you enable the debug capabilities where you can use the, I think it's F5 or F6 to show the triggers, you can clearly see them being just a flat plane and not a cube. And all you gotta do is resize them in Giant's Editor, and boom, done. Good to go. Like I said, I did that back in FS19 quite a lot with placeable mods. Especially there were some greenhouses that were like that had that problem. They were otherwise really good greenhouses. Alright, so we made a decent amount of money selling some silage. I think there's one more partial load that we go and grab. I don't recall for sure. Maybe that was the partial load. I was obviously waxing poetic instead of paying too close of attention there. Yeah, that was the partial load. And it was also at this point that I noticed that for some reason my mower was just gone. The header for it was there, but the mower itself was gone. Somehow just deleted out of my save. So I do re-add it off camera. If I recall correctly, yeah, I just bypass my animal pen there and take this straight to sell it, because at this point I have decided I'm tired of the issues on this map. I'm going to move on. It's a really nice looking map. Has some really great ideas to it, but it also just has a few too many minor annoyances. Like, this road network is one of them. How the whole little town area here is designed for small equipment. Large equipment just can't get through. Yet, to make any real significant progress with small equipment on this map is going to take so many hours, because it's because Everything is small and low payout. So if you don't mind slow progression, that's fine. But for a YouTube series, you want to be able to show constant progression. Not, here's 5 episodes of me just doing work to feed my animals because that's all I can do before I make some money off of them. Yeah, people will get bored with that. 1 episode is okay, but doing it 5 episodes in a row is not. So, that's also true for any other task that's just repetitive. There are people, yes, there are people who will watch it, but the general viewer base will not. We unload the combine, which didn't quite hold the entire field. And that's a good thing because I expected it to. If I recall correctly, I only do a partial unload. We're about to see, I guess. Yeah. I do a partial unload just to get the combine going again. Because I'm going to take over in the combine and do all the bits that were missed. Which there were quite a few. Apparently I jump cut that out. Did it off camera, but here we're putting the wheat in and getting the production started. And also restarting the corn. And I believe momentarily here is when I start taking everything down to sell it. Yeah, doing a quick, pardon me, quick worker check here, and I do believe I start running things down to the shop to get them sold, as far as equipment goes. For a minute here, I was talking about this mod and how I do quite like it. But repeating what I'd said in a previous episode about how I was disappointed that it didn't have the ability to get into its 8th gear. I could never make it get into 8th gear, which means I could never get it to reach its top speed. I never tried editing the mod. I'm sure that's possible to make it happen, but it just wasn't in the cards. So there I sent the combine off. It's going to drop its header off and then come back to pick up its other header. But in the meantime, we've got this guy, and we're sending it down as well. I might have missed a trick right here. I think that trailer actually has a rear hitch, and I could have dragged 2 pieces of equipment. But that's quite alright. So I raced those 2 down with the with the truck, and I started talking about how sometimes there's a random invisible wall right there that I can't drive a vehicle through, and that's one of the things I'm unhappy with the map about. So we get the trailer repaired and sold, and then unfortunately the combine right behind us, so we can't easily get out of here. But I make it work. I should have used the truck to block the road to keep the tractor from coming in, but I didn't think ahead fast enough. So the tractor does block the combine in, and everything's in the trigger, as you see. So I solved that by just selling it up. And then I'll take the combine, send it back for its other header, jump in the truck, and go back myself. We haul another load down, including some bits and bobs tossed into the truck bed. But we also sent the combine back, and we sent Caterpillar down, or the Oliver, with Caterpillar powered Oliver down with its cultivator there to be sold as well. And here you see my replacement mower. And there we go. That's that gone. So at this point, we're just running everything with the pickup truck. I start selling my land. Realized I couldn't sell that plot yet because it's all one plot, which is fine. And in order to sell this plot, I had to get rid of the buildings, of course. Which first meant selling the cows that we've barely had. Don't worry, I will get cows on the new series, and fairly early on. I hope. Now, there's this water pump issue, of course, and I have to fix it, but I actually do it on camera this time, so I sell it. We get paid for the water in it on top of the sale price, and you see it right there. And I immediately, or almost immediately anyway, jump in here and remove the money. So we're back to what we should be. That's what you have to do. That's easy dev tools for those who don't know. I tossed that out there. I don't remember if I ever pick it up, take it, and sell it or not. And of course, we got to sell our house right after building it. I check to make sure I don't have to sell that. Doesn't appear so. And I sell the land. It's at this point that I started talking about how I was going to start the new series, which is to take approximately half, just under half, of the money from this series. No equipment, just half the money. And start over with that, just to give the new series a kickstart since this one was so short. Yeah, see, I'm tossing things in the truck bed. Liberal use of super strength, which that's just my frustration coming through mostly. And yep, then I reset a bunch of the rest of the equipment to make selling it easier. And I don't know why I didn't just sell the fuel tank from the other map view, but I didn't. Then I struggled to sell it here. I did eventually figure out that if you lower the ground, you can sell it. I don't know how to make the. I do end up selling the whiskey production from the map because I don't figure that one out. Don't remember what I was talking about there. Probably more frustration. I realize that I've got a lot of production time left to go on this at this point. The normal check-in on the tractor, make sure it's still going. Jump out and sell everything. We had quite a bit more money than I thought we would at the end of this. So now I shuttle things back and forth from where they were reset. Yep, obviously I did a jump cut there rather than making you suffer through all the shuttling. And here we are, having sold the fuel tank. You can see the dimple in the ground. I'm trying the same trick here. It doesn't work. I eventually give up on it. Then I run along, realize I've somehow lost my load. So I sent the truck back for that, and the tractor had arrived, so I got that sold. This is where I realize I can just sell it from here, and that I can then sell the land. I already have the pickup on the way back down here. We sell the different types of whiskey there. We end at 294,562, and I take 140,000 of that on to the next map with me. It is at this point that I'm just going over here to sell the truck and then the episode. So I'd like to thank you all for watching, and as always, I will see you on the next one.